Video of my 1978 Oldsmobile Cutlass Salon Aero. I've owned this car for, well, since 2008. It's been torn apart mostly since I've had it, and just now getting it to the point it's at now. I've still got a little ways to go. I'm trying to get it ready for a cruise we're going to do from Cutlass, Oklahoma in late September. We're going to meet at the Blue Whale 6 a.m. and we're headed to the Carcraft Street Machine Nationals in Springfield, Missouri. Yeah, it's called the G-Body Cruise on the forum, gbodyforum.com. Got all the info on there about it. The whole build-up of this car is on there. It's under Half Rod's 78 Salon build. This is I did a few little things to it, just subtle stuff. This is 80s Calais grills, 1980 Calais grills. I had to angle cut the header a little bit with a roll-lock disc and then put some L brackets in to mount them. But the chrome's in a lot better shape, and I really like the look of that. I did paint them from silver. I did semi-flat black. The park light lenses in this car were all messed up. They were just, old and destroyed. That's ceiling light tile from Lowe's, and I epoxied it on. I cut off the old lens with a cut-off wheel and then just epoxied that one on the housing after I resprayed the inside. Reflective silver. I went with H4 headlights. The bumpers are actually, I cut 1 inch out of the impact shocks and to move the bumper back, and then I pushed it all the way up. I trimmed the sides down. I think I took 1 inch out of those. I don't really remember. Hand fabbed this piece here to kind of go with this because it was all open. The bumper fillers I had for this car were just destroyed. I don't really like the look of them anyway, so this was just my way of trying to fix that. But when you move your bumpers up, your fender hangs down lower. So I built an air dam out of a section of a rear bumper that'll be matte black and it'll bolt on. It kind of resembles like a Buick Grand National would have, except without the split. It could have been 84 Grand National, I think, might have had a full length one. I don't really remember. The color on this car is Indian Bronze Pearl. It is a Summit base coat, clear coat paint. The paint was so transparent, I ended up having to buy 2 gallons and a quart, mix it all together in a 5-gallon bucket. It took like 8 coats just to get coverage. It was so streaky. They want you to put it over a black base coat, which I think is kind of dumb for an orange color, burnt orange, coppery color. The engine is a 350. It was originally a 305 car. This is a manual transmission 4-speed car. The tranny is in the shop getting repaired, so I have it actually chained down at the front so the engine won't fall too far back. I didn't want to stretch any wires out or anything because I did a bunch of wiring work and hit all the wiring. I did smooth the firewall on the car, and I went with the GM corporate blue on the engine. I went with center bolt heads just to modernize a little bit. I like the look of them on an old small block. I went with the 4-rib wide belt setup. I think it was like off a Caprice or a Camaro or something from the salvage. It took me a while to find a fan shroud that actually still had the factory staples in it. Everything I found was screwed together or bolted together. I smoothed the core support top, and I went with Ring Brothers hood adjustment bumpers. I actually got rid of the factory hood bumper crap in there and welded in a nut, and then so those bolt in. They're 5/16 by 18. They offer 2 sizes, and this one I believe was the shorter one. The longer one's set up too high because the bases are taller. Went with an AC Delco side post battery to mimic stock. I went with amplifier battery cable. It's the transparent shielding. I like the look of it for a detail point. I went with the side posts. I went with ARP bolts because they look kind of like a stock battery bolt for the side post. I sprayed the inner fenders and the fan shroud with the Sim trim black out of a quart can through the spray gun. It flowed very nice. I'm pretty happy with it. The old ones, all that plastic stuff was kind of gray looking. The heater box was completely disassembled and resealed with 3M strip caulk. It has the late 70s stuff, had the fiberglass looking finish on it. Like some of my Monte Carlo SS's have just regular black ABS look to them, but I scotch-brightted it down, used a matte clear. I went with F-body mirrors, or well, they look like F-body, but they're actually off of 88 Caprice. They look just like an Aero mirror from like a Monte Carlo SS or a F-body or even Fiero. These are a little bit bigger. I like the Aero mirror because the car is an Aero, so it kind of, to me, it just kind of goes together. I had to drill holes at the front to move them forward and weld up my old ones. Gold on the bottom is 79 Pontiac Special Edition. I just always liked that gold. It had a lot of pop to it. This is actually paint. This is not a decal. I had a stencil made at a vinyl shop, and it's all taped out with 1/4 inch blue 3M tape. If you notice the blue on the front bumper, that's where I'm going to be two-toning the bumpers. I'm still going to put gold on the bottom of those. I've still got to upholster the passenger side bucket seat. Carpets, Auto Custom Carpets, ACC. The dash was out of an 84 from a salvage. It was really nice, no cracks. I just dyed it this color. The wood grain is actually something I did myself. It doesn't even really look like wood grain, but when you kind of just look in here at it, it does give an appearance of it. It's actually light oak out of a spray can. I let that dry, and then I used leather brown enamel in a brush can from Walmart. I think it was Krylon or Rust-Oleum. And I brushed it on and then used a wadded up plastic sack and blotted it, and then I used high solid urethane clear over it out of a spray gun. So it just kind of gives it a little bit better look, I think. All my panels were mixed match because some of these originally were broken out of this car, so I guess they change that wood grain every year, I'm not sure. But the column, I put a tilt in. It was out of a floor shift car, G-body. It did have the lever on it for the key, but it was a straight column. So the seat is it was out of a mid-80s Cutlass. Mine, it had buckets, it just didn't have the chrome on the sides, and I really wanted the chrome, so I went with that. The covers are from Dixie Monte Carlo. I think they're PUI brand. I may be wrong. They're for a Malibu, but they were the high back. I do not have a headliner board anymore. This one was broken to pieces. I'm gonna have to try to find one. I think I figured out that a Malibu two-door is the same, so I need to get a headliner board from a Malibu. That's almost as bad nowadays as finding an Aero two-door in a salvage anyway, but I put all new weather stripping and everything in it. Rear bumper, I've made it from 2 bumpers. I did the same thing. I cut the impact shocks about 1 inch to move them in, and then I moved the bumper way up, and then it made the quarter panel hang down lower than the bumper. So I took 2 bumpers, cut them both wide, welded them together, so it made this section's wider. And it'll be two-toned as well. I'll have a little bit of orange going around this, and the majority of it will be gold. I've already got the fillers painted and striped. Taillights are out of a 79. One of mine was broken. I couldn't find any 78 Aero taillights at the time, so I found these in a 4-door at a salvage, believe it or not, and they were pretty good shape, so I just polished them, had them all apart. Did that. I didn't have the deck lid on this car when I mocked this bumper up, because I actually extended this piece here, this is from the other bumper, to make it longer for a fill panel basically. And so anyway, when I closed the trunk the other day, I had this upper painted orange, and it hit the paint and made a mess, and of course me putting it on by myself, I chipped it all up anyway, so I get to redo it again. I made a filler panel for the back of that. Back here, it's right here. I just made it out of sheet metal. The license plate lights are from Speedway Automotive, little LEDs. But this mounts under there with studs I welded. It'll actually bolt on, and it's just a fill panel, so you can't see all down inside there. But the trim on the car, you know, this anodized clear coat always fades out and gets light scratches, so I just used some 1500 grit paper and I just buffed it on a buffing wheel just like it is. I tried sanding that stuff off and it was a bear. But anyway, I am getting closer with this thing, and hopefully I'll have this thing ready. I had it in a million pieces, all the windows out of it and everything. I painted all the jams at the same time I painted the car. Had all the latches out. I can't stand to have the latches painted in my cars. You know, like when you're painting something, I take everything apart. I put new inside door handles in. Went with Lloyd's brand floor mats. They're for this floor section of this car. I went with the old Rocket logo just to get a little detail. I put it's actually a full gauge cluster, and it's from Canada, so it's in kilometers, but I don't really care. It's got mile per hour under it. I just like the 140 showing on it. I had to replace all the pins or change them out in the main wire plug there, because this had a sweep bar originally. I do have all brand new air conditioning parts for this car. I'm waiting until I get a few more miles on it, make sure it's good before I put everything on and charge the air, just in case I have to pull that engine again. I've already had to do it once with a head gasket mishap. I'm going with a factory style air cleaner. I went with a 87 or 88 Monte Carlo 4.3 fuel injected lid because they're flatter. It gave me a little bit more hood clearance because I went with a Holly, a little bit taller intake, and I went with a phenolic spacer so I don't get no fuel boil. I made a plate up here for basically kind of like a cold air. I used some of the factory style little screws to make it look stock. This is off an S10 from the salvage. I don't know what year, but it did measure 4 inch. And I have a GM flex hose in the box that I'm going to put on it. I'm actually cutting the snout off of the air cleaner. And I bought a 4 inch oval piece of muffler pipe from Spintech, and I'm going to put it on 9 inches long. Cut that one off, you know. I welded all the unneeded stuff up in it. Still got to do some grinding and work. But, just been out here busting my butt, trying to get this thing ready for that cruise. Really looking forward to that, and meeting some of the guys off the forum. Anyway, if you have a G-body or an A-body, I guess, and want to meet up with us on that cruise, it's in late September. I can't remember the date. I couldn't even tell you what today's date is. Just go to gbodyforum.com and check it out. I think it's OK to Missouri Route 66 cruise or something. Side owners having t-shirts made and some stickers. Stickers he's designed is really cool. Can't wait to get one on the car. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. See you on the cruise.